Good evening, everybody. So tonight we're going to be concentrating on scanning for the high profit patterns, and the best scanning software that you can use is basically MetaStock. So I'm going to let Jeff come on here in a little bit, and he's going to tell you how to use the scans for for the profit patterns. But for those folks that are new, kind of the gist of candlestick analysis is based upon the fact that out of the 50 or 60 signals, over the last 45 years, we've narrowed them down to the 12 major signals. And the reason they're narrowed down to those 12 major signals is that there are 50 or 60 candlestick reversal signals in the candlestick universe. However, most of them you never see, or they're so rare, number one, that I tell people you don't need to spend your mental time and energy trying to memorize them all. When I first learned candlesticks, it just when I went through the charts, I kept thinking, this all makes sense. This is just common sense. Why isn't everybody using candlesticks? So I'd go through old charts and I'd say, all right, what happened up here at this peak? What happened here at this valley? Is there something that I can recognize that was a signal? And as I went through hundreds and if not thousands of those peaks and valleys, I discovered that these 12 were the ones that would show up all the time. Now, there's two important factors to that. One, not only are they showing up probably 99.9% of the time, but they are the most effective. They are the ones that you see constantly and that are producing high probability results as far as a trend reversal. Then we could go even further than that by knowing what each individual candlestick signal illustrated. If you saw them setting up in a bunch of signals and patterns, or signals, you could see patterns developing. Now, the reason we could see patterns developing is because of what the Japanese rice traders illustrated as the most basic concept of candlestick analysis, which was that investor sentiment reacts the same way time after time. So we're not doing anything that has formulas or that you have to learn techniques. It's all visual. Candlestick signals are the graphic depiction of everybody buying and selling during a specific time frame, which means candlestick signals and patterns work just as effectively on the 1-minute chart as they do on the monthly chart and everything in between. So what we can do is, if you're trading stocks and you have a trading universe, you can start setting up, or you can set up your own universe. Let's say you're only trading stocks that you know you want to be trading options. Well, obviously you're going to only trade or set your universe up with option stocks that are optionable. Or if you like to trade the penny stocks, or let's say the 50-cent stock to the $2.50 stock, you set up your universe that way. My trading universe is all stocks greater than 5 and trading on an average of more than 200,000 shares a day. The rationale behind that is that most brokerage firms won't margin stocks that are trading below $5. Every time I put on a trade based upon candlestick signals, I know the probabilities are in my favor, greatly in my favor, that I've got a potential of a bullish trade. So I want to get as much leverage as possible, whether that's buying options, whether that's margining the stock, anything that I can do to gain advantage of the visual recognition that the probabilities are going to be in my favor. I want to take advantage of it. I use 200,000 shares on average each day because when I make a decision to get in and out of a trade, I don't want to have to sit here for 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 15 minutes, 30 minutes, close out a position. I want to close it out and move on to the next one. So that takes my trading universe from about 8,900 trading entities out there down to 3,000. And every time I do scans on those 3,000, it's very simple. Once you have the scans set up, you can just click your refresh button, and it's going to show you the best trades. So the advantage we have for scanning is finding the best trade setups. If we have everything set up to scan for a belt hold, it's going to come up in our scans. If we have, we've got the scans for a best friend signal, the Doji followed by a gap up. And I'll kind of reiterate some of the reasons why we use these signals and patterns for the people that are new in here, but also to give people who've been here for a while a refresher course on which signals and patterns are the best. The reason we call this your best friend at Doji, which is an indecisive trading day followed by a gap up, that gap up tells us exactly what we are looking for. A change of investor sentiment, and then that change being very strongly, aggressively bought. So we call it your best friend, not only because the probabilities that you're going to be in an uptrend is extremely high, but the percent move is going to be extremely high. So, first of all, with candlestick analysis, it gives us information much more than just what the numeric numbers on any stock chart or babbling here. I don't know. Today the Dow was up 165 points. Was that a good bullish indication? Well, as we can see, that wasn't a very decisive trading day. Even though it was up strong, it didn't really show us much of anything. So because of the graphics of candlestick signals, we can see, based upon a candlestick formation, what the investor sentiment was doing during that time frame. It traded up pretty strong. It was up, I think, over 300 points at one time today, 345, and closed down here. Even though we were up 160 points, 165 points, it was a indecisive trading day. Yes, yesterday I would have started buying puts on the Dow, but I would have gotten confirmation, Richard, on a lower open today that I would have gone after the puts. So yesterday's trading was a indication that the bulls failed once again up here at the 50 and closed below the T line. There is still no definitive trend in this market. So, Richard, yes, to answer your question, because we know the different patterns, like the bobble pattern, which would support here on the T line, that if it came back up through the 50, what did we have? We had a bobble breakout, which is essentially a J-hook pattern, more defined because we could see where it was resisting. On the other hand, if they open this market lower tomorrow and take it down, that's still indicating that we failed up here at the 50, we failed at the T line, that we could be coming back all the way down to test the recent lows. So that's the major benefit of candlestick analysis, knowing essentially what each individual signal or pattern is telling us, that we can make a much stronger or much more quick assessment of which way the market is going based upon what it does after specific signals. So using the scans, we're looking for the different signals. The morning star signal, followed by bullish confirmation, or a bullish harami. Remember what the bullish harami tells us, that the selling has stopped. Now, when you can see that the selling has stopped, and see where a support level was, like the 50, that's pretty good visual confirmation that everybody was watching to see what this was doing at the 50, and we see immediately what's happening there, that they've stopped the selling. Richard, yes. Back to the Dow, if I can find it, is at this point, we don't know which way the market wants to go. I didn't bring up the other indexes, but the NASDAQ was down 8 points after it had opened up 30 or 40 points and traded higher. So when it closed down 8 points, what type of candle did we have today? Another dark candle. That dark candle immediately reveals that the sellers are still in control, that the buyers aren't there. Are you a buyer the next day after a bullish harami? Yes, in this case, got a bullish harami here on the Dow, telling you the selling has stopped. They open up positive the next day. What's that simply indicate? Simply indicates the selling has stopped, and not only has the selling stopped, but the bulls have come in with great enthusiasm. So this is the type of signal we're looking for. If I'm sitting here ready to trade and I see a bullish harami, I put it on my watch list. If I've done the scans and found this bullish harami, especially right on the 50-day moving average, if it opens positive the next day, I can be buying immediately. A lot of people will ask, well, how many days does it take for your reversal to confirm? And the answer is 0. That's the whole point of identifying the candlestick reversal signals. If you see a reversal signal, what do we know about a reversal signal? It's telling you there's potential change of investor sentiment. If it opens positive the next day, what's that immediately telling you? They've confirmed your bullish signal. You can be buying immediately. There's 2 advantages to be buying immediately. One is you're getting in early on a high probability reversal situation, again, based upon 400 years of the Japanese race traders analyzing what happens in human nature. That tells us we're getting in early, and everybody else's trading technique that may confirm after 1, 2, 3, 4 days, all they're doing is adding to our profitability that's already reversed. Where would you put your stop on this immediate buy? If I was buying here, or let's say it opened positive and I saw it was trading positive, and I'm buying right here, you put your stop at the open. Because logically that says if they come up here, but then come back down through this level, what's that tell us? Well, the fact that they opened and the bulls are in control, confirming our buy signal, if they come back down through the open, what's that tell us? The sellers are still in control. You close it out immediately. You can always buy it back if it comes back up through the through where it opened and bringing you back up above the T-line. So a lot of the entry strategies based upon identifying your candlestick signals is based upon just pure common sense. What do you want to see after a candlestick bullish reversal signal? You want to see the next day the bulls are in control. Same scenario on the sell side. You're up in the overbought area and you see a big bearish engulfing signal. What do you want to see the next day? You want to see the sellers are still there. So this is not high-tech stuff. This is just common sense put into a graphic depiction. But if this is a candlestick sell signal, what do we want to see the next day? We don't want to see it open up here, because that tells us the bears aren't in control yet. But if they start trading it lower, what's happened? 2 things. One, you've got a bearish engulfing signal, a candlestick strong sell signal. 2, you've closed below the T-line. And what's our simple rule of the T-line? You can start going short if you see a sell signal and a close below the T-line until you see a candlestick buy signal and a close back up above the T-line. So if we're scanning for short trades, what are we looking for? We're looking for the strongest trades. In this case, a bearish flutter kicker signal. Why do we call this a flutter kicker signal? Because that doji right there, notice where it opened. It opened below the previous day's candle, or the previous day's open. That's a good indication that something's powerful is coming on the sell side. And what is our simple rule of a doji? You're going to trade it in the direction of how they open it after a doji. So we call this the bearish flutter kicker signal, because if you took out this little flutter, the doji, what do you have? You've got a strong sell signal. The reason we have been showing on Wednesday nights is the basic candlestick signals, which I just say is the building blocks of candlestick analysis. Because if you understand what the investment sentiment is that created those signals, the Japanese rice traders have done two major benefits for us. One, it has identified what those signals look like. And number two, over 400 years, they've been able to pretty well describe what the investor sentiment was that created those signals. When you have that knowledge visually and knowing what those signals represent, you've got as strong a grasp of what's going on in investor sentiment as an investor that's been trading in the market for 50 years. So you don't have to be a long-term, sophisticated, technical investor. The signals are already doing that for you. It's telling you exactly what's happening in investor sentiment. So we're looking for this type of signal, a very strong sell signal. That was the reason for our going short today on BYD. Because notice what you had, a bullish candle with a gap down doji. What's that illustrate? The bears are definitely in control. So if we found this on our scans, what are we looking for? A lower open the next day, which was today. Because if it starts trading lower, what's our simple rule of doji? It's going to move in the direction of how they open after a doji. So now what's our analysis? We've got a bearish flutter kicker. So what's our next target? Well, there's a gap down here, and then I think the 200 was down here someplace. So not that they're going to go to the targets, but at least we have something to target that everybody else may be watching. Best friend. If we identify the best friend signal, we can be buying. If not here, buying here, because that would be confirming our best friend signal. How deep can a doji be? Warren, I don't understand that question. How deep? How deep can a doji be? Say that again. Yes. So a lot of people say, well, do you buy into earnings? No, apparently this was earnings. It didn't work. Now we can see what they thought about those earnings. So if we can see they gapped down and did a doji based upon their earnings, now we can see what type of investor sentiment is coming in based upon that earnings. Is the flutter kicker the large red candle after the doji? No, it's all three of them. Bullish candle, doji, bearish candle. So all three of them create a bearish flutter kicker signal. And the point of the flutter is that if you took this little doji out of here, remember what our kicker signal is. It opens here, closes here. The next day they gap down below the previous day's open and goes the opposite direction. That's your bearish kicker signal. The flutter in there just gives you an alert that if it opens lower because of the doji rule, that you've got the high probability that a bearish flutter kicker is going to be in progress. How high? Warren, still don't understand your question. How deep can a doji be? how high can a doji be? A doji is merely a day of indecision. With a very small body. Oh, how big can the body be? What you really want to see visually is if they're, whether you want to call it a doji, if the body's a little bit bigger, it might be a spinning top, but they both represent the same thing. There's indecision between the bulls and the bears. Now, if the body is bigger than the upper candle or the lower candle, yeah, that's just now a trading range day. But if the body is fairly small compared to the overall range, that visually just tells you immediately there was indecision between the bulls and the bears. So if open is lower than doji, you sell, yes. So the fact that we woke up when saw they were opening this lower today gave us a good indication that the sellers were still in control. How big can the body be and still be a doji? Again, it could be true doji is where it almost opens and closes at the same range. The body can still be relatively small, which puts you in the category of being a indecisive trading day. We're looking for the strongest signals, the best friend. Not only do we look for it, but it allows us to make a decision immediately as far as getting into a trade. There's your bearish kind of a shooting star, gap down, doji type day, gap down, bearish best friend. We also have patterns that we can identify, like right here. This is what we call a doji sandwich. A bullish candle, a doji, and what's our simple rule of the doji? It's going to move in the direction of how they open after a doji. This candle right here is usually the same magnitude as this candle right here. Thus, the doji sandwiched in between, called a doji sandwich. What does the doji sandwich illustrate? There's usually going to be more upside. So the reason we're showing these, again, MetaStock is probably one of your best softwares, if not the best software, for doing scans and then doing your trading because of their the feeds that they get. So not only can they identify what's happening in your signals, but also in your price patterns. This is what we call the J-hook pattern, where you've had a strong price move. This is what we call your classic pattern. Your fry pan bottom breakout. What do we expect coming out of a fry pan bottom breakout? A very strong price move. Then we see a pullback, which is usually profit taking. Notice what this one did. It came right back to the T-line and started back up. So what do we know about this whole pattern? That a J-hook pattern has a prerequisite of a very strong price move. A fry pan bottom usually has a result of a very strong price move. So that we call this a classic because this is your common occurrence coming out of a situation, creating a strong price move, having the profit taking, and then the J-hook pattern as a second leg up of that strong price move. The T-line is the 8 exponential moving average. So the reason we are showing the signals and patterns, this is our recommendation today on NKTR, was based upon there was a big bullish engulfing signal. It had been staying up above the T-line and see what type of pattern was setting up, your J-hook pattern. So I'm going to throw in a real quick plug here, Jeff, that this weekend we are going to be doing our training on 8 or 9 of the high profit trading strategies that can be that are not the word amplified, but very clearly illustrated with candlestick signals and patterns. Now, this training session is not so that you learn 8 or 9 trading strategies. It's to expose you to 8 or 9 very logical, high-profit trading strategies with candlestick signals, so that depending on your trading nature or your understanding of different candlestick signals and patterns, you might pick out 2 or 3 and learn those trading strategies extremely well, so that you master those trading strategies, so that you're not at anybody else's beck and call, or having to depend on anybody else's recommendations. That you can do your own analysis, again, with a combination of knowing what your signals and patterns look like, having a scanning software that will pick them out for you, so you don't have to be spending most of the time hunting for your signals and patterns, and then being able to apply the information that you know will make a correct trade. So IRTC closed today right here. Look at your big fry pan bottom. What kind of added acceleration? Your belt hold signal, which told you that you wiped out a lot of sellers. So right now, we'd be a buyer of this one on positive trading tomorrow, telling us wave 1, fry pan bottom, wave 3 breakout. So the scanning process allows us to spend most of our time analyzing which trades we want to make versus having to go out and find those. Whiting today, good earnings, a kicker signal, your strongest bullish signal. HTZ, Hertz, a kicker signal. You can analyze what your upside potential would be on this one. Whoops, I just did that one. The inverted hammer and bullish confirmation. The reason we want to identify the inverted hammer is unofficially, and I say unofficially, this is just my observations over the last 40 some odd years, that anytime you see an inverted hammer and they trade bullish the next day, you've probably got about a 95% probability or higher that you're going to go in an upward direction. Is there a chart? Yes, there is a chart. Does MetaStock have a light background without any things that are not seeable? Oh, did you answer that, Jeff? Without
as a matter of fact, I did. By default, we try to make things that are seeable. Okay. And it does have a white background. You can change that pretty easily if you want to.
All right. I guess that's kind of like the old, didn't Coca-Cola get busted years ago where at the movie theaters they would put one slide of a Coca-Cola bottle in the movie, so you didn't see it, but subliminally you saw it, and so everybody run to the refreshment stand and buy Coke. So here's that inverted hammer today. Yeah, that was a good. I think they should still do that today. Who would know? Inverted hammer, bullish confirmation. So what can be expected on this trade if you're wanted a trade to get set up with a high probability? Well, we know the rule of the Doji. If it opens positive tomorrow, you can be buying immediately because you've got an inverted hammer, bullish confirmation, and then a positive open after a Doji. Tell me at least my next target would be the 50-day moving average. How do you wait for stocks to trade above the T line? Rosemary, if you're way away from the T line, I mean, the T line has a very simple trading rule that if you see a candlestick buy signal and a close above the T line, you can stay long until you see a candlestick sell signal and a close back below the T line. With the caveat that the further away you move from the T line, the higher the probability it's going to come back and test it. So if you're way oversold, and I'm going to just pick out this chart. Let's say this chart was actually down here and the T line was up here, and we saw that inverted hammer. We could be buying. Remember, the main criteria for buying and selling based upon candlestick signals is the signal itself. Everything else is just a confirming indicator. So if I was way away from the T line, way below it, yeah, my first target would be up to the T line. On the upside, if you start moving way up, way above the T line and see a sell signal, the logical conclusion is that it's going to come back and test the T line. Subliminal advertising, yes. As a matter of fact, I've put subliminal advertising that says join the Candlestick forum all through the chat session. So just figured I'd do the same thing. All right, so the benefit we have with candlestick analysis is that if you can identify and recognize the reversal signals, now all you need to know is what do you need for bullish confirmation to enter the trade and what is your upside potential. Now, if there's a congestion area on a chart that says you've got a great reversal signal and your congestion area is about 4% above where you're entering, that may not be as enticing as another chart showing you that if you buy, your upside potential is 40%. So, because candlestick scanning is so simple, that the benefit we have is once you do your scans and you have 8 good charts to analyze, it's now not whether you get into a trade, it's now you can scan to say which one of these good trades is the best trade to get into. Yeah, that's why we always have Doji sandwiches and stick sandwiches. I get reversal signals above and below the T line, but can you list buy signals that occur above the T line? Katie, the buy signals can occur anywhere. But what you'd like to see is if it's trading very close to the T line, that you just wait for it to close up above the T line. Let's see. Snap was a strong short position right now. So before, let's not take up any more time. I'm going to log off and let Jeff come on. Jeff can show you all the things that we have been working on for the last few years for setting up the best scanning techniques using MetaStock. So with that, Jeff, welcome back to the Candlestick Forum. Yep, we've had a lot of people asking about your software. Yep.
All right, good. Just want to make sure it looks like I'm coming through. I'm going to go ahead and set up the screen share. Shouldn't take too long. While I do that, a couple of ground rules. Number one, if you have questions, feel free to ask. I'm going to start by telling you just a little bit about me. Can you tell us the Indian joke, please? In 1994, I was trained by the U.S. government how to count pills properly. My goal was to be a pharmacist. I decided after learning for about a year how to count pills and all that kind of stuff that I wanted to kind of move in a different direction. So shortly after that, I started to work for MetaStock. In March, I'm going to be here for 21 years in a row. And initially when I started in inside sales. Before I started, I thought, this looks like a pretty good job. Let's hold on to it for a couple years and then, see how we like it. I didn't know at the time that it was a job that I'd absolutely love. When I started in inside sales 21 years ago, and every year since, it's been a software that's been rated number 1 in its price category, and it's actually been rated number 1 for 23 years in a row. I also didn't realize it was such a fun company to work for. It's a very family-type company, very family-friendly, it's just been a great opportunity for me. So I started to do inside sales, and I did that for about the better part of a decade. We'll just call it the better part of a decade. And for the last 11 years, I've been in different roles in the business development team. And so that's a little bit of a background on me. It's been a lot of fun. I really am grateful for the job I have here at MetaStock. And I would say one of the funnest parts of what I do now is actually working with people like Steve. I remember I called Steve years and years ago now, and we kind of started to talk a little bit about, how well we can kind of automate different trading strategies. And I love Steve. Steve's such an awesome guy. He's been a great partner, a great guy to work with. We ended up developing this product that I'm going to show you today that's called Steve Bigelow's Candle Profit System. And we've accomplished a lot with it. It's been rated consistently one of the best add-ons available, not just for MetaStock, but for any product that exists out there in the marketplace. We've recorded the first video that MetaStock ever had that went over 1 million views on YouTube. And I'm incredibly proud of the work that we did. Steve was so instrumental in sitting down with my programmer and kind of figuring out the best way to code out his patterns and to properly represent things in MetaStock. And it's just a product I personally used with my own trading. It's something that it's absolutely one of my favorite products of all times, and one of the projects I'm most proud of. So we'll show it to you. Don't worry. I have a tendency to start talking and just start talking. But in any case, I do need to read this out loud to you. Today's demonstration is designed to instruct you on using MetaStock and the accompanying software plugin. It's not a recommendation to buy or sell, but rather guidelines to interpreting and using specific indicators and features within the software. The information, software, and techniques presented today should only be used by investors who are aware of the risk inherent in trading. MetaStock shall have no liability for any investment decisions based on the use of the software, any trading strategies, or any information provided in connection with the company. So here's a picture of the box. What I want to do, and I don't spend a lot of time in PowerPoint, I want to be able to kind of show you the buttons and the things that you push and kind of how easy it is to kind of pull this all together with CPS. But I do want to kind of show you this graphic before we get right into it. What we did with Steve to create this product is we went down in and created fry pan bottom, bullish belt hold, bearish bolt held, the dumpling top, the cradle, well, I could read them all off. That's going to get old. But here's a list of the 20 patterns of Steve's that we actually created for CPS. Okay, and I'm going to show you what that means as we kind of open up a chart. I'm going to show you how you scan for these patterns, how they're actually reflected on a chart, and all that kind of stuff. So let's go ahead and get into it, and we're just going to swap into MetaStock. We'll open up a chart. I'm going to show you how that works, all that kind of stuff. So here we are. Okay, we're right here. This is the software. This is what we call our power console in MetaStock. So this is where we put most of our power tools. Like, for example, we're going to open up a chart. That's the first option here. I'm going to show you how to run a scan. We also do, and we won't cover these as much today, but we also do system testing, and we have a patent pending forecaster that's really cool that we're not going to talk about today, but it does a bunch of statistics and kind of gives you an idea of what's likely going to happen based on what's happened in the past using statistics. So it's very, very cool, but I certainly won't have time to talk too much about it today. Just want you to realize that it's there. Okay, we're going to start on the charting tab. Somebody just asked, do you have much in the way of sectors and industries? And I'm not sure I'm going to have too much of a chance to actually talk about that or show that. But I do want you to I do want to talk about a few things while we're here on this page. So the data that we get, let's go back to that page, is all powered by from Thomson Reuters. So that means regardless of where you happen to be at in the world right now, you'll be able to get data in the markets you're interested in. And I just want to point out this number right here. We have about 381,847 symbols that are available for you through our Reuters data connection. Okay, that means if you're in Asia and you're interested in looking at stocks that are in Bombay or in Hong Kong or in Singapore, those are pretty good markets for us. You can run what I'm about to show you on those local markets. If you're in Europe, and let's say that your interest is in London or Egypt or the Irish Stock Exchange or the MySex exchange of Russia, you'll be able to follow those. Reuters kind of likes to brag that they have 95% of the entire global market cap. So regardless of kind of what your geographical interest is or whether or not you want Forex, maybe you want to be able to implement some analytics on futures, you're going to be able to do that. Now, to kind of sort of address the question about sectors and industries before we get deep into it, we do have groups of all of the sectors that are in industries according to their breakdown for Reuters business classification. So you can go in and let's say you wanted to run a scan of healthcare providers. Let's say you thought healthcare providers were going to go up and wanted to be able to see that. We do have all those broken down by sector and industry. And in addition to that, and we won't show this at all, but if you want to be able to look at sector-based indicators like McClellan oscillators and summations and stuff like that, we have a lot of experts that we've actually put together that actually help you analyze the sectors. And I could do a whole class on how that works. That's actually a pretty good idea for a class, but it would be probably about an hour long. So we won't. It is there. The breakdowns of the groups are all there. We also have some really cool sector analysis that helps you kind of parse through all the broad market and sector analysis and help you look at it. So hopefully that's enough of an answer to that question. This webinar so far has made me hungry. Okay, there's a lot of comments about food in there. So in any case, let's go ahead and open up a chart. And when you open up in a chart, let's say you can deal with these lists if you want to. So for example, if you wanted to come in here and just kind of peruse through stocks of the New York Stock Exchange, you could. Or let's say you wanted to go in and you wanted to look for just the stocks that exist on the Dow, you could. You just put a check mark here and then you can kind of arrow through them as you go. Most of the time, though, when I'm looking at a chart, it's because I want to look at the Dow or I want to look at Apple or I know the instrument that I want to kind of look up. And so I'm going to go ahead and type in an instrument here, and it's going to be AAPL.O, which you might have guessed is Apple. Now, .O, what that tells Reuters when I put it in is I want the whole market. I basically want all the overnight stuff, I want the over-the-counter stuff, and I want the stuff that trades on Apple. Or, on NASDAQ. Okay, so that's why I'm putting the .O here. I want the whole market. Okay, I am going to look at a daily interval. Okay, and I'm just going to leave that at daily. You can obviously there's some selections that are available in here. You can set whatever you want. Okay, now what I'm going to show you today, and what I want to be able to show you, is a template that we developed with Steve. So I'm going to apply a template right here, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to come down here, and the template that I have that I'm going to put on this chart is called CPS Bigelow Chart View. So I'm going to go ahead and choose that as my template. I'm going to go ahead and click on Open. That's going to open up the chart, and it's going to set it up for me so that I have all the moving averages that Steve uses. It has the stochastics down here. You've got your 3 exponential moving average, which is the 3T line. You've got your 8 exponential moving average, and then your 20, 50, and 200 simple moving averages. So that's already set up for you. It's exactly the way that you're going to look at it when you're looking at with Steve showing you your charts. It's the way Steve wanted it. Okay. Down here you've got your stochastics with the default settings, so you can see whether or not something is overbought or oversold. Then, okay. You'll also notice that since we're automatically, as soon as I open up that template, we're going to start identifying whatever patterns that we see. So right before this huge move, this pretty big move up, it went up from looks like about 155 to 172. We identified this left-right bullish combo on the chart. That was automatic. Wasn't added after the fact. It was added that day. Here we've got the doji at the top, the slow curve. You got another doji at the top, right at this top. Got your little slow curve. But before this minor move up, and you had a Doji at the top, which is a great warning right before this move down. So it's kind of labeling and identifying them. Should help you be able to see what's going on the chart. And you might not have seen this as a left-right bullish combo, but it's going to automatically label it for you. I'm just going to zoom into the chart a little bit, and we'll talk a little bit more about kind of what this pattern identification means. One of the capabilities that we have, Greg, you asked a good question. And so this left-right bullish combo, if you're looking at this on a real-time basis, the question is, well, you guys can all see the questions. I'm used to an environment where you can't see the questions. But the question is will this happen during the day? And the answer is yes. As soon as this kind of criteria is met, it's going to start to show this. In fact, you can set it up so that it alerts you during the day that it's going to happen. I'm going to go quiet for a minute because I got a cough. Okay, done. Okay. Adele, that's not a left-right combo. Are you sure? Well, that's what it's telling me it is. Let's take a look here. I want to show you kind of how the commentary works. I'm going to go ahead and just click on View, Expert Commentary. And this is going to open a bit of a commentary window for me. Okay. I do get a comment that the last day seems to be a bullish harami. That's not one of the 20 identified patterns. Okay. So if we look at this list of patterns, it's not one of the identified patterns that are on here. But there is another expert that you could attach called the Equus Candlesticks that will recognize that if it's a bullish harami. Okay. Let's look at this left-right bullish combo pattern. Okay. And it looks like in addition to, let's kind of just take a look at it. I've been playing a little bit with this. And I'm wondering if I kind of made a mistake with my version of it. We've been kind of doing some work on it because it's actually telling me that this is a Doji best friend. So let me take a look here real quick. I wonder if we've been kind of doing a little bit of work on here, and I turned on some patterns. I think I might have made a little bit of a mistake in there. But you are right. That's a Doji best friend on Apple right there. A Doji followed by a gap up at the beginning of the day. Now, yeah, in any case. It is password open, and I should have reinstalled it before we got ready for today's session. That's my mistake. But okay, what is it going to tell us then? Okay, so when you get this Doji best friend on the signal, it's basically going to tell you it's a Doji in the oversold condition, followed by a gap up. Okay, if your trader should be alert for this opportunity to get into a new long position, a gap up after a Doji or a spinning top formation while prices are in the oversold area is an excellent alert. Expect the strength of the uptrend to be greater if the last bar closes above the 80 EMA. Exit if the trade is subsequent trading closes the price below the 8 EMA or trading back below the Doji signal. So what I think I did was when we were playing with this the other day, me and my programmer have been doing some work on it. I think I actually overwrote the signal with the wrong label, which is why I took it off the chart. But this would be a Doji best friend. I scan these all the time. This would show up as a Doji best friend in your scan, which we're going to run in a minute. So the code is open just in case you're interested in. If you want to go in and tweak the signals or add conditions to them and stuff like that, you can absolutely do that very, very easily. Okay. What we do say, though, here is we say those are the specific criteria that created this alert. Prices are in the oversold area, below 20. A Doji occurs, and then the next day prices gap up above any of the previous day's trading range. So you can see that visually on the chart. You had prices right at the 20. You had your Doji bar. And then what happened is you have your gap up, which triggered this Doji best friend to happen. Okay. Since a lot of times what you're going to be looking for are enhancement, or you're going to run a scan in MetaStock, and you're going to find maybe 5 or 6 that you want to look at, what we included with the commentary was what we call enhancement. So if you're looking at 5 or 6 different, let's say Doji best friend patterns, this is going to help you do is this is going to help you understand which ones you should be trading. So the further away the doji occurs below the ADMA moving average, the T line has occurred, the higher the probability reversal has happened. Okay, so the further this is down below that T line right here, the more likely. So if you're looking at a bunch of if you see one that's way below the T line and then you see that gap up, that's going to make the signal more powerful. Okay, if the day after the doji gapped up above the T line or closes above the T line, the higher the probability of a strong uptrend is. So we have that doji followed by a gap up. What it's saying is if the next day of this gap it moves up above that T line, that's going to be a more powerful signal. Okay, which is exactly what happened. So the two things that you're looking at very specifically as enhancements to this pattern, so you're going to be looking for it to be far away from this T line. You're going to look for a gap up. And it's even better if it crosses up above the T line during that gap up day. Make sense for everybody? CB asks, are your programmers in your office or in a foreign land? They're right here. Everybody here is based in Salt Lake City, Utah. So, and that's really, really good. I actually have a programmer that we work with that works on kind of Steve stuff and our other partner stuff. And then we have a team of, I don't know, about 8 or 9 programmers that work just on MetaStock. So, yeah. And I will say this, everybody here is in Utah, meaning if you call our support team and you have questions, you're going to talk to somebody here in Utah. We always get really, I'm going to have to hurry up. I just realized there's 8 minutes. I always get really good feedback on our support team. They do a really, really good job. And it's just and we have actually more people, while I'm talking about support, we have more people in support than we have in sales and marketing put together. So one of the things that we really, really do a good job of is being able to get you online with somebody. If you have questions about how to run a scan or stuff like that, maybe the software is not acting the way that you expect it to, and you want to talk to somebody, you're going to be able to get a hold of somebody. You just basically give us a call if you want. If you prefer, you can chat in with them. And they do a really, really good job of actually helping people. So let me go back and we'll read this pattern for what a doji at the top is. Then I want to show you how to run some scans. We might go a few minutes over today. I hope that's okay. But okay, so same thing. A doji at the top happened. I just moved the commentary date to this triangle to right here. Basically says a doji at the top is followed by a gap down. So you're looking at a doji followed by a gap down. Traders can go short after this doji at the top followed by a bearish gap down with prices in the overbought area. So it's almost the exact opposite of this pattern that we found right here, the doji best friend. Okay, and the way you would trade it is the same, and the enhancements are actually the same. So what we're trying to do here is help you identify on the chart exactly where the patterns happened, but in addition to that, we're trying to help you, maybe you're a little bit new to Steve's work, what we're trying to do is actually help you understand exactly how Steve would recommend that you trade it. Okay. Now let's talk a little bit about scanning. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back into this power console. And what we're going to do is we're going to go to the scanner right here. And again, what I'm going to look for is that CPS, for Candle Profit System. Okay. Now I have a lot of scans that are in here. I've been working here for roughly about 20 plus years, and I've written a lot of scans. But one of the things I love about MetaStock is it's actually pretty easy to go in and write stuff for. So in here you're going to see CPS Doji Dynamites. You're going to see the J-hook patterns. You're going to see power signals, price patterns. I have an additional download that includes your single day patterns, your universe, and your universe scans. Okay, I'm going to talk about the universe scans first. Okay, if you hover over them, this will tell you what the exploration is scanning for. So in this particular example, this exploration is designed to go through, and it's designed to give you a list of all the stocks that are above $5 that don't have an average volume of 200,000 shares daily. So if it's $4 and it doesn't kind of meet the volume requirements, it basically builds a list. It gets filtered out. Okay, so it allows you to build a list of stocks that have $5 or higher and have enough volume that you can buy them. Okay, and so you run this. I run this probably about every 3 months or so. The way I run it is I run it against the list in MetaStock that's called optionable stocks. Okay, because I want to be able to have a list of the optionable stocks that meet this universe requirement. Okay, when you run this, I haven't run this for a few months, but I'll just go to the report. All it's going to really do is give you a big old list of securities. So you'll see these are all the ones that are above $4 and above $200,000 in volume. That's basically what you're going to get. Okay, I save this list. Okay, and what I do is you'll see that I have a pre-filtered list of securities. So on a daily basis, what I'm going to do is I'm going to scan this pre-filtered list of securities that I've made here. And so instead of scanning like 5,000 stocks, I'm going to scan 2,500 on a daily basis. Okay, it's that simple. Yes, I will tell you what the price of MetaStock is. It's very cheap. RT says, can I set a price or a range minimum? Yeah, absolutely. You can do that. If you want to edit this code, you can. I'll just show you exactly where to change that in case you want to. Okay. So this actually lists the close price. If you click on the filter here, it's actually $5 is close is greater than 5. You just change 5. If you want to change the volume requirement, there's where you would change that number. So you just go in and edit it. You can set it to whatever you want. It's a good question. Okay. Can you add conditions to say the universe of stocks to filter for optionable stocks only also? Yes, Rick. That's actually exactly the way I run it. So when I run my exploration, what I'll choose is I'll choose this universe scan. Okay. And then what I'll do is down in my scan list, if I come down to North America, there's a list that's already just the optionable funds. So let's say we just wanted to do optionable stocks, and maybe we wanted to do ETFs as well. We can now run this universe scan against both of these lists at the same time. So yeah, that's very, very easy to do. I'm not going to run it now because it takes a minute or two. Seems like that's exactly the amount of time that I've got left. So what I'll normally do, for me, personally, on a daily basis, I ran this afternoon. My favorite pattern is this Doji at the top and this Doji best friend pattern. Okay, so I really like this Doji dynamite scan. If you look at the price patterns, you'll have like your fry pan, your bullish bolt hold. I'm going to take some English classes tonight. Bearish bolt hold. This is the scan that'll find all your price patterns. These will find your J-hook patterns. These will find your Doji dynamite. So on a daily basis, what I'll do is going back into MetaStock, I'll come in here and I'll say, okay, well, I want to run the Doji dynamite, okay? And then what I'm going to do is instead of scanning those lists, I want to go in and save that list that I saved, that pre-filtered list. So when you save that pre-filtered list of securities, it's going to show up here under Custom Online Data List, okay? And you just put a check mark here. This is the scan I want to run. This is the list I want to run it against. And then you just click go, okay? This will scan it on a daily basis. You can leave this one on load minimum records, so you can just click on start exploration. You can run multiple explorations, like you could run all of these at the same time against the same list if you want to, and you can also select multiple lists. So if you wanted to also scan futures or you wanted to throw another list in there, you can come in here and say, okay, well, let's grab the ETFs too. We'll put the ETFs into that scan. And that's how you would do it. It's very, very straightforward. Okay. What I'm going to do is actually show you the reports and kind of how things will look. So let's take a look at this. I actually ran all of the patterns today against the pre-filtered list. What I'm going to do is I'll just open up and jump to the report. There's no J-hooks today. So in those 2,400 stocks, none of them actually have a J-hook pattern. That's all right. That's 2,400 stocks that I don't have to look at to find that J-hook pattern. So instead, let's look at the power signals. Now let's look at the Doji dynamite. That's what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at reports. Now out of those 2,400 stocks, I can focus on just the ones that have an opportunity. So you'll see Doji at the top right here. If I'm looking at this, Alliance Bernstein had a Doji at the top. Unit Corporation had a Doji best friend. None of the patterns, because they all zeros, had a left-right bullish. 3 of them had a left-right bearish. And these are a series of bearish, series of bullish. So very easily on this screen, I can kind of sort the patterns that I want. I could look at unit and Allenstein-Bernstein, which I'm going to do. Tickers A, B, and unit T. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and highlight both of those. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and open up the chart. And right here, I've turned it off because I've actually screwed up my software. It doesn't show the Doji best friend. It shows it as a left-right bullish combo. But you can obviously see that you have the Doji followed by the gap up. I'm going to have to reinstall CPS tomorrow to fix that. We had the Doji followed by the gap up. Here's your Doji best friend. Had I not messed up the software, it would list it just like it listed this little fry pan bottom back here. And I can take a look at that one. Looks like a pretty good pattern. Let's see. We had a little bit of we had the Doji. It was in the oversold area. It was pretty well below the T line. You had that gap up the next day that crossed through the T line. So it met both of the enhancements. Let's take a look at the other one. Okay, and this is exactly the process I go through to kind of take a look at this one. I haven't broken my Doji at the top pattern, but you see yesterday. I'm just going to zoom in a little bit here. You had the Doji in the overbought area. You had a gap down. I'd say this is pretty far above the T line. You had the gap down. It did not cross through the T line today, but it had a fairly significant gap down. So if we point at the bar here, you're going to have all that commentary. It's just such an easy product to use. And there you go. So in any case. A couple questions, and I'm sorry if I missed a question, please re-ask it. But we'll start with the questions that are here. Can you set a price range in the okay, I got that one. Okay, we're caught up. MetaStock costs about $59 a month for an end-of-day version, and about $250 a month for a real-time version. Okay, we'll talk a little bit more about that as we get into there. Rick says, Gibby, can you add conditions to say the universe of stocks to filter for? Yeah, I answered that one. Forex is included with all of the packages, yes. Okay. MetaTrader is a company that, we're just going through these, this is lightning round. MetaTrader is a company in Russia that when they started, they borrowed a lot of our trademark terms, like expert advisor and stuff like that. We were thinking about legal action, but we talked to our Reuters lawyers back at the time. We were owned by Thomson Reuters. They said it's probably not a winning proposition to sue a Russian company. So they're different companies. We're the original MetaTrader. Okay. Right now, last year, our most popular product was the candle profit system, so what I'm showing you today. Okay. CBS, how many candles comprise the fry pan bottom? I don't think there is a set amount. What we're looking for is a specific pattern. Okay. So we don't kind of limit it. What we're looking for is and William could explain this better because he's really good at the coding, but we're not looking for a set length. That J-hook pattern could actually be quite long or it could be quite short. What we're looking for is very specifically that slow grinding bottom. Okay? Philip says, I don't have the CPS single-day patterns in my version. It's a bit of something that we are working on right now, so Philip. So it's part of the bonus. I can send you. We started giving it away a few months ago, and I can send it to you if you want to drop me a message, jeffrey.gibby@metastock.com. $59 a month is for end-of-day data. Yes, Sophie. RT says, I have MetaStock with Steve's add-on for candlesticks. Same question we just asked. Drop me an email. I'll send you a download that installs just those two things for you, RT. I think you meant to say, I also love MetaStock and the Steve's add-on, but I'm putting words in your mouth. P.O. Abraham says, can you show me exactly where the T-line is? The T-line is an 8 exponential moving average. It's this black line on the chart. Okay? So going through Steve's indicators real quick for you, you've got your 3 exponential moving average, 3 EMA. Steve calls it a 3 T-line. Steve uses this if he gets into a position that really starts to go parabolic on him. He'll use it, and Steve can certainly correct me if I misrepresent him. he'll use it if a stock goes parabolic and he wants to get out a little sooner than waiting for the ed exponential moving average, which is the T line. That's this black line here. Okay? You've got a 20-period simple moving average, a 50-period simple moving average, and a 200 simple moving average. You've got a stochastic 13.3. I believe it's 12.3 is the settings for that. Okay. Okay, Tim, okay. Let's go ahead. There's a lot of questions and costs. Thank you for your interest. So let's talk a little bit about what it is and how much it costs, and then we'll come back into the questions. So the first question I had is, well, MetaStock, what does it do? Is it just a scanning software? Well, it does scanning. Scanning is one of my favorite parts of it, but it does a lot more than that. It's a fairly large toolbox. In addition to doing the explorations, you obviously get a really good charting engine that's part of that allows you to get in and see the commentaries. It allows you to get alerts real-time if you're using MetaStock real-time in a real-time basis. Okay. In addition to that, if you're interested in tinkering with and testing trading ideas, in my very biased, 100% biased opinion, we have one of the best system testers in the marketplace. If you want to be able to test trading ideas to see how well they work, we won't cover that at all today. Okay. We also have a very, very unique toolbox in there that allows you to go in and forecast based on some pretty fancy statistics, future price movement based on what's happening in the marketplace, and it's very, very cool. So there's it's a big toolbox, scanning, testing, real-time alerts, real-time advice, and in addition to that, this forecasting module that we're not even going to open up today. In addition to that, if you go real-time, you're actually going to get real-time news and data from Thomson Reuters that's powered by like 30,000 reporters in about 300 different bureaus. Let me say that again because I think I got the number a little bit bigger than it was. 3,000 reporters in 300 different field offices. Okay. If you're familiar with Thomson Reuters at all, it's a $19 billion a year company. It does a lot of media, and they sell news and information to brokers, institutions, banks, etc., etc., etc. They charge thousands of dollars a month for it. We include their white-labeled version of their premium product Icon, we call it Zenith, as part of your real-time subscription. So it's a huge product. That's what I'm saying. There's a reason that for 23 years in a row it's been rated #1 in its price category. There are two versions that we offer. This particular add-on includes 4 explorations. The explorations will show you the layout, identifies the patterns, alerts you to them, gives you the advice on the chart. 24 years in a row. Sorry about that. Okay. Normally, and I meant to change this slide out, but normally the Candle Profit Systems is $399. Okay. Normally it's $499. We're going to give you $399 here at the thing, and I didn't realize I had this wrong slide in here. I'm going to wonder here. Okay. What we're going to do here is, if you're new to MetaStock and you want to try MetaStock, you can try MetaStock as part of this purchase. Okay. So it's normally $399. We're going to give you a discount of $100. You can get it for $299. $100 off the retail price. Okay. We're going to give you MetaStock. Okay. We're going to give you access to data as well. MetaStock, what does it cost? It costs $59 per month. Okay. That's the end-of-day version of MetaStock, so that basically gives you access to an entire region of data. Okay. It doesn't give you the real-time news and the real-time data. It gives you an end-of-day access version. So it's only $59 a month. We'll give that to you for free. Okay. We did record a training session that you'll have access to instantly. Okay. You'll also get the Steve Bigelow's bonus pre-filter explorations and that new single-day pattern scan that I gave to you. You won't get 2 years of stocks and commodities for free, but basically you'll get the 30-day money-back guarantee. So normally you pay $399. Here at the event that we're doing tonight, it's $299. Okay. And to take advantage of that, what you're going to do, and I can't believe I didn't check my final slide there. That's a really big misstep. But what you're going to do is you're going to go to metastock.com /Candlestick Forum A. Okay, so if you type in Candlestick Forum A right here, okay, and I'm just going to grab this so I can paste it in the link. Okay, $2.99, Tim, is a one-time cost. You pay for it. What more than that, you own it forever. Okay, so you don't have to pay for it again. You always have that software. It's available to you. That's a really good question, because I show that to people and they expect to pay $200 or $300 a month for it. It's not the case. It's a bargain. The other thing that we do that is really, we do this with all of our products, but we back it with a 30-day money-back guarantee. So we'll go ahead and throw in kind of like all those bonuses and all those freebies, the pre-filter scans, the instant training that Steve and I sat down and recorded. And we'll let you play with it for 30 days. And what we're telling you is basically, if you don't like this, if you don't think it's going to add value to what you're doing, you can call us up. Our sales guys will basically give you a refund on the spot. You'll get your $299 back. It's something that we offer on all of our one-time products. We've always offered it. What we do, don't get me wrong, we do want you to keep this product. Most of you will. But if you don't like it for whatever reason, we'll give you a refund on the spot. Okay? So $299, what you do is you come up here. You can watch a little video I recorded a few years back. It'll tell you all about the product. If you come down here a little bit, what you're going to do is just click on this. You'll see there's a 30-day unconditional money-back guarantee. You'll see you're paying $299 as a one-time fee. Okay? If you need MetaStock, go ahead and put a check mark here in the daily charts version for your free trial, or the real-time version for your 30-day trial. If you already have MetaStock, thank you, number one. Number two, don't click a button right here. Just click on Order Now. It'll take you through that order process. So very, very straightforward, very easy to do. If you have other questions that... okay, I'm sorry the offer was a little bit confusing, because that's my fault. Okay, what you're going to get here, though, we'll go ahead and we'll do some on-the-fly editing. You're going to get Candle Profit System. Okay, it's normally $399. You'll get access to a MetaStock subscription trial with data. Okay, you'll get instant access to a training session that Steve and I sat down and recorded. He goes in and talks about how the patterns work and that kind of stuff. And I spent maybe about, I believe it was 30 or 35 minutes going step by step through, okay, here's how you run the scans, that kind of stuff. And you're going to get a 30-day money-back guarantee. Okay? If you want, so the only thing that's listed here that you won't get is this 2 free years of Stocks and Commodities magazine. That was a promotion we were doing with Stocks and Commodities a few months ago. I forgot to take it off of this slide. So normally, if you bought all this stuff separately, it cost you like $900. It's $299. You basically, what you're getting is everything you need to get started. $300. Okay. You can give us a call to order that. It's 800-882-3040. If you're still confused about maybe like the cost of the product, that kind of stuff, give us a call. We've got people that are online waiting to help you. You can also chat online at metastock.com/saleschat. And I'm sorry I confused things a little bit. Okay. Let me scan down. It looks like I $299 would be the total price. Maybe $299. RT says I do love MetaStock. Well, thank you. We love you, RT. Real-time data would, I'm just going through the questions here. Real-time data would show you the patterns as they form. Yes, there is a financial relationship with MetaStock and Steve Bigelow. We're using all of his intellectual products and properties in this program, and it's a very good financial relationship. We're very, very grateful for it. It's been very good. Okay. So I have 9.1 version. I need to upgrade to get Steven's add-on. Does it come on a CD or is it set? It's an instant download. So back in the day when you were using 9.1, which would have been a while ago now, everything was delivered on CDs. Everything is environmentally friendly. It's available immediately. And for you particularly, Shell, thank you for using MetaStock 9.1. I would actually recommend that you chat online to kind of fully explore your upgrade options. So metastock.com/sales-chat for that. Okay. Rick says real-time data would help with intraday scans. Which would you need for day trading? If you want real-time data, you would need to go with what we call the MetaStock RT package, and that would allow you to use all of the stuff that we showed on intraday. Scott, thanks for the props on our YouTube channel. So CB asked a question: how many of Steve's signals could be used for one search? Okay, so let me go. Actually, I'm in the slide. In the PowerPoint here. There's 4 different scans. What we wanted to do was break them up into categories. So these are 4 different explorations. We broke them up into what we call price patterns, Doji Dynamite, power signals, and the J-hook patterns. Now, literally, you can run all 4 of these scans at the same time, but it's going to run them sequentially. So it'll start with price patterns and go through that, then Doji, and it'll give you a report that you can look at for each of them. So you can run all 4 of them at the same time, but they are technically separate scans. Okay, Tim, the $2.99 is good through March 1st. Thank you for asking. Thank you for your interest as well. Okay, let's scroll down a little bit more. Katie, I hope that me going through the offers helped you explain it a little bit. The CB says, can I do the $2.99 without MetaStock? It's kind of like getting a car but not getting gas. So you need both. But what we'll do is we'll include the MetaStock for free with you, as a trial. Okay. It doesn't work with TradeStation, Greg, but I would recommend you give MetaStock a try. I like TradeStation. I'm very familiar with it. We can talk to you a little bit about the differences between TradeStation and MetaStock. We do have some pretty good, unique, competitive advantages to TradeStation. Not to say it's not a great product. It's a great product. I think MetaStock is better. I'm 100% biased. So, I mean, let's just take it for what it is. So, Yoga says, do we pay $59 after the first month? Yes, you do. Okay. Brian, we're going to include the data. The data is included at that $59 price. In fact, if we go in here and we said, okay, give me the MetaStock daily charts with data link, what it's going to do, and I believe it's on the very next screen, is it's going to ask you which region you want. Okay, so you could say, okay, I want North America and South America. This includes futures and Forex. Okay, for North America. You could say I want Europe, Middle East, and Africa. This includes futures and Forex. So you could say I want this version, or you could say I want MetaStock with Asian and Pacific data. The bottom line is yes, the data is included with that pricing. You basically select it. Now it does say $59 per month, but the price shown does not reflect your free month. Okay, which will be applied when you check out. Okay. How many patterns does one have with a MetaStock subscription without the Bigelow package? There's about, so pre-built explorations in MetaStock, there's about 30 to 40 of them. And they include things like MACD, Bollinger Bands. There's about 30 or 40 individual systems that are included with MetaStock without the CPS. I'd recommend you try CPS as part of it, though, because it gets you the MetaStock for free. You don't like it, well, that's why we offer a money-back guarantee. Perfect risk-reward scenario. Okay. Do I get help in trade setup being a beginner? Yes, MP. Here's 2 things. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to do that training. Now, the training that we did, we sat down and we did it, I think it was last summer. Towards the end of the summer, Steve and I sat down and did some training. We broke it up into 2 sessions. Steve kind of goes in and he talks about his patterns. Here's what they are. Here's how they work. Because we're kind of gearing towards 2 audiences. We want to talk to the people that are MetaStock customers that are getting Bigelow and they haven't seen Bigelow for the first time. right? And so that's one audience. And so that video is very much catered to, here's what a J-hook pattern is, and here's how you look at it. The second part of that training is me sitting down and saying, okay, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to open up a chart. Here's how we do it. Here's the steps that you go through. Okay? Here, they're asking me if I want questions. Okay? The second part of that is me going down and, so there's two parts. One is Steve. Lost my train of thought because this beeped at me. But the second is me going through and showing you how to open up the charts, how to apply the templates, how to run the explorations, and really giving you a thorough understanding. Now, so that's the first thing. The second thing is if you ever run into questions about how do I do something, chat online with one of our support reps or give them a phone call or send them an email, whatever is more comfortable with you. And if you have questions on kind of how things work, that's why we have more people in support. They do such a great job. There's not a week that goes by. This week, one of my partners that's in Sweden, he sent me a message and he said, I had a guy that was having a problem running a scan. He contacted your support guide, and I couldn't get the guy to shut up about how good they were. So and I was like, well, I laughed. I was like, I wish I could say that was a surprise, but it's not. I get comments like that all the time. So if you do run into questions, our support is a great resource for that. Okay. Dominic says easy to set up. I think that might be a question. I think it's easy to set up. You might be saying it's easy to set up. If so, I agree with you. Okay. Zig says, is it compatible with other data feeds? It is, Zig, as long as they offer data in one of three formats. Those formats are CSV, MetaStock Legacy, and the new MetaStock format. And most data feeds out there support MetaStock Legacy, okay, or CSV. So that's a question for your data feed, but most support MetaStock because it's such a big brand name out there. Okay. Robert, wow, we have thanks for all of your interest, guys. We're going to spend 30 minutes answering questions here. I'm happy to do it, by the way. Okay. Can I trade from within MetaStock? We don't do trading at the moment. But the other advantage to that is you're not going to have to fund an account with us for $2,000 or $3,000. So, but we don't do trading right now through MetaStock. Okay. Shell says, I'm in Australia. Do I have to go through the U.S.? Well, you can. There are some distributors in Australia. If you want to go through them, you're welcome to. Okay. P.O. Abraham says, can you use this scan for day trading, or is it better for swing trading? You can scan intraday if you want. Personally, I use it for a swing trader, and that is more my temperance because I'm very busy during the day. I go home at night and I have 3 to 5 kids depending on the day there. So for me, I'm lucky to get some good swing trades in now and again. Okay. Philip says, are you still trying to improve the product, especially for the pattern recognition, which is the toughest part to code? That was the toughest part to code. As a matter of fact, I can tell you've tried to code some pattern recognition. We have some ideas for an improvement to the product, but it would be just adding things, not removing things. And there's not a lot of changes we actually want to make to the underlying code when we do. But that's actually why I was playing with the product and kind of broke my version a little bit. Okay. Juan Pedro says, there are 12 major signals. Where are the rest? Okay, well, to go back to the list, there's about 20 that are in the product. So here's the list of the 20 patterns that we actually locate. Some of the patterns are the single-day patterns, which aren't actually reflected on this list, but you'll get an additional scanner that we wrote in November that have the single-day patterns that Steve talks about. Okay, good question. Thank you. Juan Pedro, thank you for buying MetaStock years ago. We will probably have you on our customer list. For those of you that are MetaStock customers, number one, thanks. Number two, if you're looking for upgrade options, I would recommend you just chat in. Okay, that way we do have people that are there. We do have, he might be a little bit busy right now, but he can look up your record, he can tell you what version he had, and he can kind of help you evaluate whether or not leasing it is a better option than buying it outright, depending on what you're trading. Okay? But we've never lost any customers on our customer list, so you'll be on there for sure still. Ray says, does it work with TC2000? That's a really good question, Ray. It does work with TC2000, but you have to download, I think, and this was a while ago that I was talking to TC2000 about it, but I think it was TC2000 version 7.1, because that has a downloader that allows you to store the data, and then once you have that downloaded, you just use it as a downloader, and it allows you to pull data straight into MetaStock. So your answer is yes. Okay. We saw a chart with the name of several signals. What system produced that? Was MetaStock with Steve Bigelow's product. That's what we're talking about here today, CB. Everything I showed you today was in MetaStock using Steve Bigelow's candle profit system. Lou says, if you buy the package, you still need the $59 a month for MetaStock. Yes. So you buy Steve Bigelow's candle profit systems one time. We throw in MetaStock and all of the Reuters data for you. It's only $59 a month, and that would be what you would pay after your first month, because we're throwing that in for you for free. Okay? If you decide, hey, this isn't worth $59 a month, it's not really helping me that much, well, you can cancel your order, and you get a refund of your $299. So give it a try. Okay. I'm not sure your question, CB. So, okay. You're talking about, these are the 4 different categories of the patterns. Okay? But when you go into MetaStock and you run a scan, you can scan for all 4 categories. Okay? When you apply it to a chart, if we scroll back here a little bit, you're going to see all of these patterns show up on your chart. All 20 of them will be available on the chart for you. It's all part of the same package. Okay? Hopefully that's clear. Compare TD Ameritrade with Thinkorswim and MetaStock. Geez, I have Thinkorswim, and I can't figure the thing out. For me, I don't like Thinkorswim very much, and I can't give you an unbiased opinion because I'm totally 100% biased. For me, I've been using MetaStock for 20 years. I get into Thinkorswim and I can't find anything. So I'm sorry. Our support reps might be able to kind of contrast some of the differences for you. I'm going to be totally straight up with you. I can't give you an unbiased opinion with Thinkorswim. I just haven't used it that much. I don't like it that much. I've had time figuring out what to do in it. And with MetaStock, I've just been using it for so long. It's like putting on a pair of slippers. It's really comfortable for me. So there you go. The support hours, that's a very good question, Lee. And I will stay here and answer questions. They're from, well, let's find out, should we? Let's see here. Okay. The question is, what are the support hours? And I believe that is 7 a.m. Mountain Time to 5 p.m. Mountain Time. So to convert that into Eastern for you, I was going to look it up on the website, but I'm pretty sure I'm accurate because I'm here usually longer than they are. That's 9 a.m. Eastern to 6 p.m. Eastern. Okay? CB. Okay. I'll break it down. Okay. So let's go back here a little bit. Okay. Let's just actually go to the order page. I want to make sure that this is clear. So I'm going to go ahead and type into my browser right here because I've got a few of them open now. If I go to metastock.com/candlestick forum A. Okay. Okay, boom. You can click on the link. I probably should have done that. Okay. Candle Profit System is Steve's patterns. It's the stuff that, it's his work. It's his patterns that gives you the ability to search for them. So you might call it like a navigation system. Okay? It's going to give you all of his patterns. You can go in, you can get a scan for it. MetaStock is the car. Okay? So what we're saying is MetaStock has been a product for 30 years. It's been rated #1 for 24 years in a row. What we're saying is if you want to try out Steve Bigelow's Candle Profits for MetaStock, go ahead and try it out. It's a one-time cost of $299, and we'll give you a copy of our software for free for a month to evaluate it and see why it's been rated #1 for so long. Okay? So this is like a navigation system for a car. This is the navigation system. This is the car. I hope that that helps. Okay, this is what you pay $299 for it. You get this for free. If you like the package, you keep it and you just pay $59 a month for the MetaStock and the ongoing data subscription. Okay, I hope that's clear. If not, if not, just chat in with one of our guys. They can talk to you about it and kind of make sure you understand. I trade Forex. Which one would I use? Any of them. Forex is included with every package, so it doesn't matter. It didn't make sense to put it in a package because, like, are you going to shove it in U.S.? No, doesn't fit there. So it's included in every package. I would say for Ray, to give it some advantages of kind of the reasons I like MetaStock, and I would say that our sales guys will probably give you a better, more informed answer for this. For MetaStock, it's really easy for me to go in and set together scans, and I can scan the whole market. Maybe you can do that with Thinkorswim. I don't feel very qualified to answer these questions for you. I think the system tester in MetaStock is better than just about anything that I've seen. Okay, I can take a trading idea, I can test it against the whole market. With MetaStock, we were the first software product that did system testing. We were the first product to provide full market scanning, one of the first two anyway. I'm not sure exactly which one was first, and I want to backstep that a little bit because I don't want to say things that aren't true. We were one of the first two to do those things. Our system tester, is unlike any that I've seen. If you want to test trading ideas, you can do it against a whole market at the same time. It's very, very cool. And our forecaster is patent pending. So it allows you to go in and do statistical analysis. It allows you to say, okay, well, we had a 52-week high. Not today, but in the market. And you can go in and it'll do correlative analysis where it tries to match probabilities of what's likely to happen. And it gives you a really cool patent pending probability cloud. So there's quite a few things that are kind of, I would say, are advantages over a competitor. I just don't know that much about Thinkorswim. So I'm trying to be as straightforward as I can. So Tim says, yeah, if you don't pay the $59 per month after your first month, Tim and CB, you don't have access to the system. It's for MetaStock. Okay. I'm really behind on questions. You're welcome, Juan. So for Nias asked a question, what if I want to buy MetaStock? Let's say you're using TC2000. This is a really good question. What if I just want to own MetaStock as a one-time cost and not pay for it on a monthly basis? MetaStock end of day, if you want to buy it and own it, is $499. And if you mention the Candlestick 4 coupon code, you can actually get $100 off of that. So, but I would recommend that you do the trial. Make sure you like it. Our return rate on MetaStock is like, I looked at it the other day. I had to check it twice. It was like 5%. Because what we tell people to do is, if you try it, we'll let you try it with the Bigelow thing for free. If you don't like it, don't buy it. So it's a pretty good risk reward. We want you to be customers of MetaStock. We've always offered a money-back guarantee on our products, and we've always honored it. So it's a really good risk-reward ratio. Brian S. says, so we buy CPS for $2.99. Yes. You own it forever, and then you pay $59 for both the data and access to MetaStock and the software updates. Okay? Cool. Rick says, yes, that is correct. If you don't like it, you've got a month to evaluate it. You can go through all the training. You get a full refund. Rick, thank you for helping me with my job. Okay. CP, you can't. It's not a sellable license, so you can't resell it, but you can always return it, and we'll just give you your money back. So you don't have to keep it if you don't like it. Yes, that is correct. You can buy both of those, own them outright. You still need data because you won't get data on a daily basis, but you would own both MetaStock and CPS as a one-time cost. WTJC, yeah, that's pretty true. That's a good way. That's a good analogy. Was the word I was looking for earlier. I came to the end of the questions. You guys, I want to say thank you. We went like, MetaStock is the software package that runs all of the things. You guys, I really appreciate all of your questions, man. Steve, I'm sorry if you're still here and I kept you 40 minutes late. No, you still need data. Like if you, the $59 a month is MetaStock and it's data. Okay? So it includes both. So if you are in the situation where you like TC2000 and you're getting data there, but you also like MetaStock and you want to use TC2000 for your data feed, in that case it would probably make sense to buy MetaStock because then you're not paying for two data feeds. Okay? MP, if you don't need data, do the one-time cost. But to try it out, try it on the free trial. That way you can keep it. If you've bought the software, the data feed, if you've bought the software and you just want to get data from us, the cost on that starts at about $25 per month. Ray, it works out great on a Mac as long as you install Windows and a boot camp. That's a really good question, but you need a working copy of Windows for it to work. So if you have a Macintosh and you want to run MetaStock, you need to do it through Boot Camp or Parallels or something along those lines. So thank you for the question. Appreciate it. Unfortunately, we don't have a Mac native version just yet. All right, if you guys have other questions or if I'm still being kind of obtuse, get a hold of us. I want to say thank you for coming in today. Candle, I'm just typing this link in again. MP, I like fairly big monitors, but it'll run on any monitor that you put it on. I think we're using, I don't even know the size of these, but I'd say they're about 15-inch monitors in here. My laptop is about a 8-inch monitor, so it's a very slimline monitor. It works great on that one as well. I like them a little bit bigger than my laptop screen, but not mostly just so that like weird things happen on this small screen. Not with MetaStock, but like with web browsers and stuff like that. If you do have, you're welcome, CB. Thank you for all the questions. I appreciate your interest, really. If you, if I missed them or if I wasn't doing my job and answering them well, just chat in with one of our guys at metastock.com/saleschat, and they can spend some time with you. Okay. Thanks, guys. I'm not sure if Steve's still around, but I'll say thank you for him. I really appreciate your coming in today and your interest in the product. Thanks for all of you that have been using MetaStock for so long. I'm going to go home and play with the kids. I'll see you at the next session.